In a world where equality is just another euphemism for mediocrity, where participation is more highly valued than achievement, where just enough to get by is the new standard of excellence, there is a small minority of people who fight back against such apathy, who struggle daily to reach new heights. These brave few are the hope for the future, the bright shining light for the next generation. They are the ones who will lead us to the places we have never dreamed of, to the undiscovered country, to reach goals only a few can even begin to imagine. Unfortunately, none of those people could be here tonight, so kick back and relax. Prepare yourself for several hours of fun, friendship, fascinating conversation, and fabulous music. All those F's, that's an alliteration and kind of a radio trick. Speaking of radio, you're listening to the most popular radio station in the history of broadcast radio, at least among stations that originate from Chris's living room. It's Curious Times. Your host is Curious Listener.
That's me.
Here she is, Chris.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Curious Times. It's Friday. Welcome to your weekend for you responsible Monday to Friday people. And it is August 26th. August 26th. That means Dorothy's happy because spring is on the way. And we're depressed because fall is on the way. And her winter is as hot as my summer. And so anyway, I don't feel too bad for her when it's winter. So Dorothy's obviously here tonight. She's front and center on camera. And tomorrow, Aaliyah Dawn, I must remember to send a reminder. Kelly from the Kara Center is here Saturday. That's Sunday. That's going to be her last. She filled in a few Sundays for us over the summer, and she's back to work. So she's going to, try to come in whenever she can, and we're happy to have her. Lisa's going to be back on Monday to do some Akashic Record stuff and readings, and hopefully Nick Fox is back with us. I think he's missed a couple months in a row here now, plus he's moved and all that kind of stuff. So, now he's a young lad, and like if he's all frolicking and having fun over there in wherever the Oregon, smoking the oregano or something like that. I don't know what he's doing. But anyway, if he's having too much fun, he might come up with a bad cough or, a little touch of the flu or something like that. Monday night, but we'll see. Tuesday, hopefully he's here. Wednesday, now I had an opening here, and usually every year we have the Native American Music Awards at some point through the year, and of course Donald Black Fox, friend of the show and CEO of Spirit Wind Records, he's actually usually the announcer, or AKA the voice of God, on those awards, on that TV show award ceremony, the announcer behind the screen, not the MC out front. And but this year his voice is shot due to his surgery, and he's back in hospital again with infection again to the incision area, it sounds like. And so they're hopefully going to fix his throat. And they're hopefully going to fix his freaking infection. Usually the worst place to be is a hospital. If there's infection, that's where you get most of your infections, right? And so anyway, prayers and healing and everything for Donald. But whether he's back or not, which it's not looking like he will, I'm going to go ahead and do a preview of the Spirit Wind Records performing artists who are nominated for awards this year. And I'm going to be voluntolding or strongly encouraging everybody to go over to the site, and we can go through category by category and put our votes in. And doesn't look like there's a limit. Like you can just go in. You don't even have to give a name anymore or nothing. It seems more like Big Brother voting now or something like that. So you can vote often. And so we'll do that on Wednesday. I'll have some of the music. That we can listen to. Amy Kavanaugh's here next Thursday. A week from tonight, the famous Jenny Satori rocks the rooms, and so she'll be here next Friday. We'll see what happens with that. In the meanwhile, we have Dorothy. She's one of everything. You know what I mean? There's nothing she doesn't do. And master fisherman on top of it. And so I had this all adjusted so I could actually read it with my old eyes, but apparently there's an airplane landing on my freaking roof right now or something like that, sounds like. She's like a hypnotherapy person, all coach and blah, 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 reader, tarot. She's an author. She's a belly dancer or something, I don't know. She does spiritual development, tarot, personal development. She does hypnotherapy. She likes to help people with their phobias, anxiety, confidence, weight loss, addictions, all of that kind of stuff. She's forbidden from hypnotizing anybody against their Curious Times addiction, however, and so every other addiction is up for grabs. And okay, so with all that said, you can find Dorothy at www.energy-therapies.co, and let's go get her. Hey, Dorothy, how's it going?
Hello, very good, thank you. With all the talk of spring, you know what? I went up the road and I was on my way home and I was raping and pillaging the side of the road because there were jonquils everywhere and lots of those little mini, the little mini daffodils you see that everybody seems to have now. And so I came home with this humongous great bunch of flowers, and it's funny because people sort of frown on you stealing from their gardens, but this was roadside stuff, nobody's garden. And as I was walking down the road, it's a highway, and as I was walking down, because I'd just been to the market, I bought a little saucepan, I was having a wonderful time. And as I was coming down, people started giving me odd looks. They'd be walking up the other side, and they'd stare, getting the death stare, like, if you better not have been in my garden stare. It's quite funny. So I just smiled and waved my flowers. Yeah. Yeah,
funny,
smile and wave my flowers. And it's called taking a death in your own hands because it's a 100 km/h highway, and that means 120 if you're in New Zealand, right? Every time. Right. And of course, there's no way they're going to cross over the road and have a go at me because you might die. So you can get quite lippy and quite smart on your side of the road. Just don't stop moving. Just keep moving. It'll be all right. Yeah.
There's no hunting allowed from the highway from a moving vehicle anyway, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, not allowed. It's just not allowed. So good fun. But my house or my caravan actually smells divine because it's a small space. And so when I'm in the annex, I'm filming here, the caravan's just off to my right, and when you open the door, when I come back in now, because I had to run off to toilets just before the show, the urge hit, I thought, I better go now. And when I come racing back in, you open the door and you just get hit with this lovely, lovely scent of these beautiful flowers. So there you go. That's my little joy for the day.
So so now spring's coming and then summer, do you got a different kind of fish that you're fishing for then, or is it just the same fish all the year round?
Yeah, no, in summer it's the snapper season, and that's what I've just been full of joy this week because for the first time in about 4 or 5, 6 weeks, I've caught snapper. You can go rollicking out to sea and you can get in your boat and shoot up to the top of the North Island and pick up snapper, or you can go to the right spot and you just get the occasional real big moocher. They call them a moocher because they've come in from out of sea looking for something that's a little bit, yummy to eat. And when you're surf casting like me, they're just about an impossible ideal. And at this time of year, the harbours are a little bit empty of them. So mainly I've been catching kahawai, which are fun to catch, and, of course, trevally, which are one of the most beautiful raw fish you could ever imagine. They're just fantastic as sashimi. I've tried a little bit for kingfish. I caught a couple, but they're undersized, so they have to be 75 centimetres long before you're allowed to keep them. They're actually quite a large fish.
That's about this long, isn't it?
Yeah, that's about that long. And so this last week, I caught 2 snapper over 2 nights fishing, and I didn't catch anything else, and it took me hours to catch each one, but I was as happy as a lark because it's my first of the season, which is quite early. Yeah, it's quite early for me to be catching those. So happy girl. And it's all listening to the gossip because it's listening to the gossip because I've got friends gossip. I've got friends who are paddle boarders, you know, and so when they're talking to me, I'll go up to the local coffee guy or the mobile coffee unit up the road here, and they'll pull in and they'll say, oh, I saw a snapper over here, or I saw this over there, and so I'm like the little bee, you know, straight off into the direction that they see it, and I swear to God, I sit there and I hope like hell they're not exaggerating or lying every single time. It's worked out though, so we're pretty happy. Did I get the? No, I didn't. I've got to go to town to get a Barbie doll because Dolores posted that picture. You know, the little one with Ken doll holding a fish.
I didn't see it. No.
It's a meme in general. It's been going around for months now where somebody's got their fish, which might only be about this big, but they've got a Ken doll holding it, so it looks enormous.
Oh, right.
And Dolores, in infinite wisdom, thinks that maybe I should have one of those so that my fish catch looks bigger. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Actually, you do pretty good, and Dorothy's not much taller than your average Barbie doll anyway, you know.
and my boobs are just as big. yeah, oh Barbie, yeah, that's the one. My waist isn't as small, I've got to say. My legs aren't as long, so but at least I am in proportion, right? I won't fall over or break. Kaboom! Yeah, we're pretty good. Can you hear me? What's happened? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I got muted apparently, so.
Oh, shoot.
That's okay. I guess you weren't hearing me. I was going on and on like I was saying some funny shit, man, and nobody could hear me. Oh, my best stuff.
And then the second delivery, it's never the same. It's never the
I'm
same.
Just gonna leave it. Leave it. I was just trying to say, Dorothy gets some pretty big fish anyway. That she doesn't need to be exaggerating anything, and so there you go. So hey, I have a question for you, and I'm not sure that Dan will be popping by today or not, but I'm just gonna ask you. And then if the answer's no, then we can move on. But have you ever heard of such a thing called trigeminal neuralgia?
No.
Trigeminal neuralgia. No. Like it's like a thing that people get, which is facial pain. So it's nicknamed like a suicide disease or something. Because the pain gets so bad for people, they want to cut their effing head off.
Well, I've heard Go ahead. I haven't heard the term, but I've heard of, and I've hypnotically worked with a lady. This is a terrible story, actually. She had this in her jaw, in her teeth, and she thought it was her teeth, and she kept going to the dentist, and the pain just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and the dentist clearly looked at everything, looked for everything, and came back, and then he said, we can't see any reason for this pain. All we can guess is it's some kind of nerve damage, and all we can figure is that maybe we should just pull your teeth out. She was in her 40s, 43.
Oh, my God.
They pulled all her teeth out, and when they pulled her teeth out, unfortunately, after the initial, it's in pain anyway for a while, the pain returned exactly the same as it was before. It hadn't gone away at all. And so then she ended up on a few years on these massive painkillers, and she found that over the years, the painkillers just weren't working the same. You know, you have to, and there's addiction in there at that point too, which can make you feel pain just to get the pill sort of a thing. And then in the end, she came to me for hypnosis because she was, her words were what you said. She says, you know, there are days I just want to kill myself. I can't find any way to stop it, and it's sort of 24/7. So I could imagine that would be horrific no matter which part of your face or if it was your whole head that it affected your head. Once it's your head, you know, nothing works right. No, you can't think, you can't imagine, you know, all of those wonderful moments of silence, you can't have any of it. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Yeah. But that's the only time I've ever heard of it.
It also goes by the name of course my pronunciation, but prosopalgia, Fothergill's disease. And it's a pain. This is more for anyone listening, but since I brought it up, you know, it stems from this trigeminal nerve that sends information from the face to the brain, and from any kind of facial stimulation. like you could just put your toothbrush on or put your makeup on or something, and this can just start to cause intense pain. And so
nerve damage or nerve pain is a horror story, because they can't really do anything about it usually.
Yeah, they think that they only can have a theory about what causes it, which is compression of that nerve by an enlarged blood vessel. Right. But other causes they think could be from like an aneurysm, which is essentially, you know what I mean, a blood clot, right? Multiple MS, tumors, or lesions. So anything that could be, putting pressure on that. And so, and it's mostly found in women over 50. And so what I had a question about, more natural. And so, of course, I go and I look up natural, and there's some people who are describing what they've tried over the years and what makes it worse and what has helped and what hasn't helped. And of course, as typical, what works for one doesn't work for everybody. And so it's really one of those things that you have to just try. It's funny though, because I read in a few cases where if they go and they do a good brisk 20-minute walk, then they can reduce their pain enough to get them through part of the day, and then it returns again, and vitamin B and stuff like that they're talking about. But so I just but then others are, of course, are talking about cranial sacral and osteopath stuff, so being adjusted, getting everything back and properly aligned where it belongs, and that makes sense to me, of course. And then energy therapy, and that kind of a thing. And so because it was a earthclinic.com is where I looked this up, because I always look for a natural cure for this or that or whatever, I mean? Natural. Yeah. And so I just found myself on there. And so Dan was asking me about this. And,
I had really good success quite often using just energy therapy, no hypnotherapy techniques, with nerve damage to feet, which is really common, especially when you get guys. When you run out the front there, bought and paid for or not, this becomes a bit of a problem because it changes the balance in the spine and it alters the way the nerves work right down to your feet. And the first time I worked with this was a guy, he would have been about 68, and he got to the point where he had to sell his business because he couldn't work anymore. He sold his boat because he couldn't go out on his boat anymore, and he got extra weight on because he couldn't really move around. And what was happening is that as soon as he stood up for more than 5 to 10 minutes, his feet would start burning, and that's a typical sign of nerve damage for anybody that's had carpal tunnel, anything like that. There's this burning sensation that accompanies it, as well as a sort of a numbness, along with this hollow feeling of pain right inside the body. Well, his had just got worse and worse and worse, and then as he put on more weight, everything compounded. Because he couldn't stand up for very long, he couldn't walk, so his muscles were getting weak, and he was about 6'2". He's a really tall guy. And so he came to a first session when I was working in Whangarei, and I said, well, just give it a go. I haven't worked with this before, but I figure energy therapy works for anything. And if you notice the difference, because I was going at that point every 6 weeks, come back next time, because whatever if you find improvement, I know we can do better. So he came back the next time there, and he just couldn't deliver an energy therapy. He came along because of the stories his friends had been telling him about what I was doing there at the time. And he ended up with 3 sessions, and he sent me a nice little note after the last time. He said, I don't need to see you again, and that's good news. So, yes, it works. It's really just a matter of taking the time, putting yourself on the table, if you like, and letting somebody do their job, which is energy work. I haven't really had, to be honest, any failures with energy therapy of just about anything.
Yeah. Good.
I've had partial success, not complete success sometimes, but just as often that person will come once and not more than once, or other times they think that they've got the most they can, but the partial success is still huge for them. Like I had a woman with rheumatic arthritis, after she finished with it, she wrote a beautiful testimonial for me. She actually ended up stating that her worst days now were better than her best days before, but she's still got what she's got, and she's still, she was 15 years into it, her bones were degenerating, because it's not from the arthritis that your bones degenerate, it's actually from the medication. So as long as you keep taking the arthritis medication, that's going to be a side effect for you. So her pelvis started breaking down and stuff like that. But mentally, emotionally, and physically, when she first came to me, she couldn't write. After 2 sessions, she could write. She could write her name. She could actually go and get a job as long as she was sitting down. She already had artificial knees, artificial ankles. She had artificial knuckles all before I even met it. Yeah, it was a phenomenal thing.
I know some people with artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Sue's not that, you know. Yeah, but it was quite noticeable. And for her, she'd had her problem for a very long time, but it really became pronounced, and this is probably a bit of depression as well as grief. After her husband died, he'd always been a main support for her. And once he died, she just took a dive downhill, and eventually a friend brought her to my house, my business actually. So it was quite an interesting thing. She just came to one of my meditation classes and went away and decided to come and try the energy because nothing else was working. At the end of the day, I usually see people when nothing else works. I don't usually get them at the beginning. I always wish I could. If I could get them at the start, they might not need to go through all of that, you know. So there you are. So if I was him, I'd go and have energy therapy, that's for sure. Yeah. I would always make it my first choice.
Right.
There you go.
Right. I think, too, part of it is you know, to find out not only what can relieve it, but what's aggravating it too, hey? Like by reducing something that's aggravating. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, sometimes it is after a while in the mind, and they do know that. And that's not a put down, and it's not hypochondria. But with the woman with her teeth that I was telling you about, who still had it after her teeth were pulled out, the hypnosis worked, and she only had 1 session. And it was just gone. So I believe that she had got to a point over the years. I mean, we're not talking a month or 2 here, you know. We're talking years she'd had this building up, and then it got to this crescendo. I believe that there was a moment where she just expected it. It was there whether it was there or not. And pain is one of the most interesting studies out there, because nobody in all the studies that have been done knows what pain is. It's not physical. It's not physical. It's one of those interesting questions. There's theory. There's pain theory, like the gateway theory is still about the most prominent pain theory out there. So in the end, nobody really knows, outside of the fact if you've got inflammation, everything else is going to hurt. Nobody knows what the hurt is caused by. If that makes sense? Yeah, why is there pain with that actually?
Sounds like love. Nobody really knows what that is.
Nobody really knows, exactly.
And what causes it. What could be the cause of that?
Yeah.
If I could find out what causes it, I would stop it. No, anyway.
I used to. It's all good. No, but it's true. If anybody could work out what actually causes pain, they're on a winner. I used to do pain clinics for the New Zealand Arthritis Foundation. I used to go to big meetings of 70, 150 people to talk to people about my pain strategies, which are non-medicine, you know, non-medical, non-physical. There's no moving of the body like orthobionomy, which I learned is you find it's based on osteopathy, and it's a phase 6 of osteopathy. What they learn is to find the position of rest. That's where the body is in the least pain, or where the pain eases itself. And you know, when you hurt yourself, you shuffle around a lot, right? You're always moving. Well, that's the body attempting to find that release spot where the pain is the least, is what they call the healing position for anything. Once you find that pain release naturally, I don't mean with drugs, you can find that position. And the drugs have the unfortunate effect of if the pain is reduced enough, your body's not encouraged to find that spot, and so it's not encouraged to.
The problem with that, though, Dorothy, is that, because I can speak to this from personal experience, you know, is so if I throw my neck out, right, then the no pain spot might be like this, eh? It might be right there and bent over a little bit like this. In which case, I'm putting now I'm going to get compensatory problems in my back over here, and then before I know it, I got pain down there, and my back is out in the low back because this position of rest.
I think you're talking a little bit. Yeah, I think that's a little bit different to what we're talking about, because with an osteopath and orthobionomy, we do actually shift the body, right? You might have to move through
I know what you mean. I'm just saying, when something's hurting, your body, whether consciously or subconsciously, is looking for a position to be in where it either gets rid of the pain or minimizes the pain. And all I'm saying is that with some of my problems, when that position is achieved, I might just be causing myself a problem, and that will help solve this. Like, because what needs to happen here is it needs to have that. If it's constantly being aggravated, then it's going to be prolonged. My problem will go on for weeks. So that's all good. Like, if this position happens to be what I need for this, that's all great. But it doesn't do a damn good thing for the rest of me.
Doesn't do a thing for the back. Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon, and we all hear about homeostasis, which the body seeks out, but there is a position of healing for anything, and that's the same too with disease. You know, if you've got, say, a cold, we'll use something simple, and you warm a person up. It's actually called a cold, which gives you the implication of what's going on in the body. It cools down and down and down, and needs to be heated up. So your body has a natural rhythm that will find the opposite of a fever, which is where you're very hot, and the idea is, you know, to break the fever, you've got to cool the body down. If we can always find those places of healing or spaces of healing, however you find it, then the body will do the best it can to get back to square. But sometimes there are things that we have to do or change as well. You know, if a person's got my niece is just a horrible story as well. She had, this is actually a Dorothy family story. Are you ready? She was drunk in a bath and she fell off her bar stool, and she didn't realize it because she was quite drunk at the time. She did quite a bit of damage, and over a few weeks her back just got worse and worse and worse. And then she went to the doctor. They did the x-rays and found out that she'd actually broken one of her spinal vertebrae. Like, how do you do that? And so there's this whole energy around that. Anyway, she goes off to the doctor, and they decide, after she's walking around like she's got a carrot stuck up her butt for a very long time and a lot of pain, she's now become addicted to painkillers. That's before they even do anything. She's addicted to painkillers. So they throw her on the table. They actually remove the vertebrae, put a plastic one in there, and create a rocker cover, just like they build for bridges, so it can move, which is kind of technologically huge. You know, it's a big deal. Gives her life back. So she gets over that, goes to rehab, and about 3 or 4 months later, she's saying, I would never have got it done if I thought I'd be in as much pain today as I was in back then. Then she started seeing Auntie Dorothy, and I've suggested to her that if she feels better after the energy therapy, perhaps she's not in quite the pain she thinks she's in. Maybe we need to talk, or she needs to talk to her doctor about her medications. While she said she moved a lot freer and felt it a lot better, she was definitely not changing her medications. Her shock came about 2 years later. Her drugs were so strong that she took her pill. She's only allowed 5 in a bottle. She took her pill and then forgot she'd taken it and took another one, and her 7-year-old daughter found her on the floor. At that point, lots of people thought she tried to commit suicide. There were all sorts of stories around that, but we know she didn't. Her husband was lovely. Mark is lovely, and he was distraught. The daughter was freaking out. They were angry at her. You know, it was like a terrible little drama to watch, that these people were angry at her. And Mark said, what do we do? And I said, you go to her doctor and tell him to sort out her addiction, because that's what's wrong. Well, they did that. They took her in hand, took her to the doctor, told the doctor off, smack, got her off the drugs. Now, she runs triathlons today, you know. So the pain wasn't actually real, and that's a big deal. It's not that she was a hypochondriac. Her addiction was at that point dictating her feelings. She needed to feel pain to justify the drugs, basically, which you see with, was it Heath, what was his name? Heath Ledger. You know, when he passed away, he was on these stupid drugs. I'm pretty much probably going to go along with that with Prince as well. He was on these super medications and so on and so on. And you've got to ask questions about doctors who let people get into that. They know what they're giving them, you know, but they don't seem to carry a lot of responsibility with that. So it's yes, Deborah, I have a family. I have 5 sisters and 1 brother, 4 sisters that are alive. 1 passed away a couple of years ago, and 1 brother. I have aunties and uncles for Africa. They're just all over the place. My family is enormous. We are New Zealand. So there you go.
Well, and with Prince, it's just recently come out that that his bottles were mislabeled, and
really,
yeah. And,
oh my gosh.
according to officials told Associated Press the singer had no prescriptions for controlled substances at the time. He had been to the, like, I don't know if what they're going to find out is that he got the wrong medication from the pharmacy, because he had been recently, if I remember the story correctly, he had been recently to the pharmacy. And so that what the pills that were in his bottle was not what was, the label did not match what was in it. And so, so there might still be some more interesting stuff to come out of that. You know, I remember back when too that somebody had talked about, you know, that there was that he was killed by the Illuminati. But I mean, let's just say that wasn't the Illuminati, like that. That's something that somebody
could be
his wife. Yeah, whatever. Well, it could be just about, you know, just saying.
Anybody.
Just saying, you know, anybody who has access, you know, access to them. Or just a stupid mistake at the pharmacy. You know what I mean? And
you know,
and so
what is it that the American Medical Association says you've got somewhere in the region of 300,000? Is it 340,000? So it's a tenth of your deaf population, or your population in America, not your population, dies or has a major traumatic event due to medical misadventure. I mean, that's a lot. You know, that's a lot. That means you've actually got a 10% chance at any time of not existing because of their crap. You know, they're not trying hard enough.
I found an article one time about, like, you know, either bad penmanship by doctors leading to death. You know, because it's supposed to be 1 milligram and someone reads it as 10 milligrams or vice, you know, or whatever, right? And so, or transposition errors or this or that. And so, and it's alarming how many of those mistakes do happen. And so,
well, now it's a little bit different. You have to try harder. So our doctors' prescriptions are sent straight to the local chemist, or the chemist that you're going to go to, or if you've got a regular
someone still has
chemist
to type it in, right?
It's not handwritten though anymore.
No, but okay, but you could still have a typo, right?
Yeah, a typo.
Let's say a doctor's too busy to do it himself, and he gets his nurse or whoever to do it, you know, and they mistake 10 for 1 or 1 for 10, whatever. I'm just saying, shit happens. Mistakes still happen. They can try and dummy-proof stuff, and that's good. I mean, for everything that they do that can reduce those kind of errors, that's great. That's a great move forward, you know. And
it's an interesting area because you know, chemists are chemists. Over here, we actually call them chemists. And they are qualified, so they know they're the ones that are usually your last stop, whether something looks right or doesn't look right, and you know, they'll check with the doctor or get it corrected and so on. And they're the ones that usually pick up a combination of drugs, because sometimes people go to 2 different doctors. You know, you might go to the hospital or you might go to your doctor, and one doctor doesn't know that you're on something else. So the chemist becomes the final point. Well, all of that in New Zealand anyway goes into a national database. So a chemist, once you go in there and you give them your details, can check everything that you've ever taken, which is good.
You know, probably a couple of times a month. When I come to punch into my show, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm reading a typewritten telephone number that's, you know, there, right? Like, or not the telephone number, but the access code. It's typewritten. I'm reading it. It's right there. And in my brain, it gets wrong by the time I'm
you know you're setting yourself you know you're setting yourself up for an age joke, right?
No, I'm setting myself up for, I can never have a job where life and death, you know, based on numbers, you know what I mean?
There's only 10 of them.
So,
there's only 9 of them.
That's just what I mean. I can even be saying the number properly and punching it wrong, you know?
Oh, okay.
And it's stupid. I've been like all 3-4 times I punch the freaking, and then I go and I like, it's not 8-5.
I love the part. Yeah, damn fine, indeed. But it's a definitely I don't know. I think that we start with asking for help probably too soon, most of us, you know, when it comes down to hopping off to a doctor, we go a little bit earlier than we should, and we don't necessarily give them the right information. And I'm very aware of this. With Pete, he's my ex. He was a horror. You know, there's only once I sat in with him with the doctor, and that's because he was nearly dead. And I couldn't understand why the doctors weren't doing anything. And when I got there, I just said to him, no, I'm coming with you, because he was doolally, you know, so I knew he wasn't registering stuff. When I got in there, they were doing blood liver tests, and liver failure tests, actually. And when they were doing it, I said, how many liver failure tests do you have to do before you know that, you know, he needs to see a proper doctor? Because I couldn't understand. He was in the side clinic. He'd only seen the doctor the first day, and we were 2 weeks later, and I couldn't understand why that was happening. As soon as I said that, these nurses scurried out the door, ran and got the doctor. They didn't even then, he didn't decide to look at him. He came in here and he said, these are necessary tests. And I said, are you assuring me of that? And he said, yes. So I picked up my partner, not literally because he was 6'2", threw him in the car, quite literally, get in the car, boot, and I drove him to another doctor who immediately admitted him to hospital, where they found that his, not his appendix, his gallbladder had burst.
Oh,
you know?
Jesus.
Yeah. He looked sick. You know when you look at somebody and you go, I'm not a doctor, and he looks sick. And as soon as he saw the second, he looks like he's going to die. As soon as he saw the second doctor, that doctor didn't waste 5 minutes. So this doctor was just absolutely useless, and the nurses were just doing blood samples. He hadn't seen a doctor for 2 weeks after his gallbladder burst. So he was going down, you know. And at no point did they decide that something needed to be done. Now, this isn't just my story. You hear it again and again and again. You know, when somebody's continuing to be sick, or they're having struggles, or what they'll do is they'll change your medication rather than look at whether they've misdiagnosed you. They will change your medication. All of that sort of stuff seems to come first. And I'm a real fan of go to another doctor you've never seen before, walk in the door. Don't give them your history so that they haven't got a preconception about you. Now, who was it I was talking to a few weeks ago? I wish I could remember. A doctor had given her a slip. She was going, I can't remember what it was about now, or where I even saw it or heard it. I know it was up here somewhere. And she said when she went to the second doctor, they had actually given her a piece of paper from the first doctor for the second doctor. And I said, really? Because they can just, you know, net that across. And she said, I don't know why he did that, but when she decided to have a look at it, there was a little note in there that this woman doesn't take care of herself, so you may not be able to help her. That is bad, you know, bad notations, and they do notations like that on your stuff, you know, and so they're kind of covering their own asses if they make a mistake, really, because we can't sue doctors here, right? They get explored, investigated, but we're not allowed to sue people. Which is good. We like it that way. But there's a lot of checks and balances if you want to use them, and you don't have to pay for those. You know, we can go to any hospital free of charge. So if you're not sure, get yourself off to there and get somebody independent to have a look at you before, you know, you carry on for years with something quite simple. And then, of course, just recently, I had the second person I've ever met in my life who's got their body parts on the wrong side. My boss used to years ago. He had a appendicitis incident, nearly died because his doctor wasn't being a bad doctor, but he was feeling in the wrong places and he couldn't understand. He's going, well, this has got to be this or that. And actually it was his appendix on the wrong side of his body. His heart was on the wrong side of his body. And I had a client up here about 2 weeks ago, and she had the same thing. Her body parts were all on the wrong side of her body, which is really tough on doctors because it's not something they go looking for, you know. So she'd had some incidents. I know people who
have their ass where their brains should be and stuff like that.
There's that too, yeah. It's a little more obvious. It's a little more obvious. Easy to spot.
So listen, you guys, Dorothy's, you know, willing to do some crystal card readings. And so I do prefer callers. You guys know that because it's an interactive you know, radio show, and it's kind of boring for me to just like, you know, go down the list and blah blah blah.
So
no,
on my sharing of the
podcast,
all in.
And so,
I'm just playing, Chris. Yeah. So if you want to know what I've just done in this last week, which is a little bit of fun while everybody races to their phones, I saw this awesome little cooking video. I've been learning how to make, it's called pasticcio. Any Greeks in the audience here? And, of course, it's like a Greek lasagna. It's done it quite differently, and the flavors are quite different. I'm really enamored with it. And so I watched this grandfather's recipe with his family and all the rest of it, which was pretty good fun. And what am I talking about now?
Greek lasagna.
Yeah, no, before that, what made me go there?
What did you do for this past week? What did you do in this past week?
Oh, yes. Well, actually, it's totally unrelated. Completely unrelated. Oh, dear. I set up a meditation site on IntuiTalks for members.
You know, Dorothy, you just set yourself up for an age joke, eh?
I really have, except I've always been this way. Oh, shiny. Yeah. I've always been the same. Talk about that age joke, says Heath. Now,
he thinks just like me. Unbelievable. He could be like my twin.
He could be like your twin. I wonder if he looks like you too.
Heath, are you 50? Heath, are you born like in December? Are you coming 51 this year? Like, good God, man. I don't know. Do you look anything like me? What color are your eyes? If you look like me, I'm so sorry. It's not my fault.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with your looks, Chris. So don't be doing that to yourself.
Oh,
There's this wonderful new site anyway. This new group, and I've made it a private group because I started as a public group, but then I'm not sure if that stops outsiders, and I just wanted it for IntuiTalks members. There are 3 meditations up there already. I just listened to MP3 players, and you can go into the meditation group on IntuiTalks.com, only if you're a member, and you can listen to these. And there's 3 there to start. There's a rainbow fountain, there's a falcon guide, and there's purple plates. And then I will be adding to those that are going to be exclusively only on IntuiTalks for members to go and listen to any time. There you go, free of charge. Woohoo!
Good. Okay, I'm going to do a song break. Terry just came in. Terry, Dorothy's going to do crystal card readings. If you want, you can. Now, for anybody that's newer, you can, if you have a headset, you don't have to call in with a telephone. Number 1, there is a Skype button now. If you look way to the bottom of along the bottom of your IntuiTalks page here, it says the whole copyright thing, and then sign up, get your own show, report abuse, and then Skype in. Now, if you Skype in, you're going to have to be able to figure out how to bring up the dial pad. And so when you're in that call on Skype, you click on the word call in the menu above the top, and then there's a little option there that says show dial pad. And so then the number pad will pop up for you. If you're dialing in with a paid Skype, your dial pad is automatically there for you, but that's not the case when you're using the Skype to Skype call. So, but you need to have a headset. Additionally, you can just click in the upper left-hand corner. There's a little picture of a headset, and you can click on that, and you'd have to click on it twice if you're in here now. There's the first time you click on it, it'll cancel your sound. Click on it the second time, and then it'll give you the option to share your microphone. Then it runs you through a quick little sound test to make sure that it's using the proper mic and that you can hear yourself. So you don't have to technically telephone in. There's a few different ways that you can call in and participate and get yourself a crystal card reading. And so I'm going to do I'm going to do a quick song break, and my favorite song, I didn't bring that up. That's too darn bad. Here, I'm good. Oh, that's funny. Just as I said, too darn bad, Doug and the Slugs, Too Bad was right there. So it has to be that I'm supposed to play this song. So I'm going to play that song quick, and then we'll come back and we'll start to take some calls. Yes, you do have to have Skype. How come it's not working? There it is. Hee-hee.
First
She got to one-up me. She's got to one-up me. You know what I mean? I have one of those too. I have one of those. That's funny. I totally have one of those. Now I wrecked my hair. As you thought you were in the first place. Too bad. So sad. That's so funny. I'm going to go and get mine just to prove that I do have it, and because I need to get up and get a coffee anyway, I'm going to do a quick shout out, and then we'll it's good too because I just came across mine the other day. Otherwise I wouldn't have a hope in hell of knowing where to find it. You know what, I just knew that it as soon as the watch battery thing kind of went on it, I took it off the baseball cap, and that's probably what you use to go to the loo, hey, in the middle of the night. You got the little light the path up or something. Oh, fishing. Okay, so quickly, hello, Alicia and Amy Kavanaugh's there. Beth, how are you? Deb is here from Calgary. Diane in Ontario. Dolores is also Canadian. We got Canada represented very well. And Dorothy, so now we have the Commonwealth represented very well. Heath is here. Marie. Hey, Marie, your friend, your person, Selva, popped in last night, and we spoke with her. I think that was your buddy, Marie. So that's very nice. She's going to be getting in touch with me hopefully, and she has to. I've given her homework. She must go and get a headset, and then we can. Yeah, at Ken What's-His-Face's show, and that guy, I told her, I go, that guy does not like me. Do not mention my name to that guy. And if you do, don't believe a word he says about me. And so anyway, Eric is there, Renee Richards is there, Sherry, hi Sherry, Terry, Stardust, God love that name, Terry Stardust. And Truth No, oh, that's Eric is there twice. Okay. So let's go get Dorothy. Here's Dorothy. Hello.
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
So
I've done a for you first.
Oh, okay. So what am I supposed to do?
Okay, because I thought, actually, that's been a while. Absolute nothing. Nothing's already done.
Excellent.
So the first card off the rank was a Storm card. This is from the Crystal Ally cards, which are, in fact, I believe, a little bit harder to find now because she self-published back in the day, you know, when you paid every cent for the self-publishing and all the rest, and she's never transitioned it to the more modern publishing format. So it's getting harder and harder to find these decks, which I didn't know till I recommended them to a friend, and she came back and she said she couldn't get a deck for under $130. So, you know, that's an expensive deck. Yes, she's laughing, yeah. It's an expensive deck, yeah. And so, you know, you got to stroke it, to make that worthwhile. Yeah. So
decks just shouldn't be that expensive, man. But anyway.
They really shouldn't be, you know, especially if they come all by their own self. You know, there is a really good book of instructions that come with it, but it's still getting up there in the modern world, right? It's an expensive set of cards. And see how I changed that just so that we could clarify everything? We've got to have people knowing what I'm talking about because not everybody's here to see it. You know, later on they'll be listening in archives and they'll be imagining I'm holding a dildo or something. $130 dildo. Yeah. So Lipidolite is the second card.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's perfect.
And the third, and the third card I got was Journey, which is a Sodalite card. Actually, I'm in the process right now. I've started creating a crystal card deck. This has turned me on more than anything else. I've got a half sort of. I'll tell you what they mean.
No, I know, but the storm one is not. It's not. Is that like a major arcana? It doesn't have like a stone associated with it, or?
In the deck, she's using the 4 earth elements, and storm is the 5th element. Okay, because it incorporates fire for the lightning, it incorporates water, which is your rain, it incorporates wind, which is your spirit, and of course incorporates earth, because without the magnetism of the earth you can't get lightning, believe it or not. It doesn't happen without it. So that's where the storm comes in. Now, the storm does tend to, these are like these particular ones without a meaning on them per se, they are like the header for that whole group. So they don't individualize the aspects of the group. So when it rules or comes out first like this, it governs the other 2, in fact, which are sort of subcards of other elements. So what it says there is that the storm is about everything happening at once. Being a 5th element, or it's not the 5th element, but it's 5 elements. It's the 5th element created by all 4 elements. It is everything happening at once. It's like the idea of the earth energies that are pulling, magnetized. It isn't necessarily a rough ride, although the first impulse might be, storm isn't good, but storm clears the air. It also, after a storm, the air is fresher, there's more oxygen to breathe, so it can give a person good insights and bring everything into square. The sodalite, as the second card was the pedalite, it's not accepting yourself, although it can be. It's accepting what is, and then making judgments and decisions accordingly. And when you do that, you find yourself in a position to move really far forward. You can really motivate your mindscape. You can motivate your energetic intention, all of that kind of thing. And intention becomes a big deal, because with acceptance, or the lack of acceptance of what is, the chances are we won't make choices based on what's best for us, but we'll make them on what we kind of believe. So you've moved past actuality into a belief syndrome, really. The other wonderful thing about lepidolite, or with the acceptance, is it's very fluid. So you can shift and move. And so when you've got fluid and you've got the storm, you're talking about really getting something underway, getting something flowing, getting something moving. And once it moves, it might get a little bit out of control. And then you just have to hang on for the ride, which creates the journey. And the journey of sodalite is a pretty powerful card, because it suggests that while you're on the path, you need to enjoy what you're doing. You need to make sure that your choices are based on what you like, what you love, what you want, rather than whatever limitations there are around that, how much I've got, what can I afford, those kind of things. Now, while they obviously play a role, once you start stepping in the journey, it's a wind card, it's spirit. That means that inner guidance, whatever flows through you out into the world, becomes more prominent, it becomes more obvious, it becomes more clear. The 3 cards together, as I put them all together, suggest to me that you're just about ready to undertake maybe a new path, a new direction. You may not have it completely formed yet, or you may not even think it's possible, but if you accept that what is, or if you accept what you want or don't want, whichever way that goes, if you accept, right, this is how it is, and this is what I want to change, then it's going to be easy to get that flow underway, because you've got all of the elements there behind you helping you out. Now, the storm only becomes a problem when we try to rail against it, right? As soon as we try to stop the wind, cut out the rain, stomp on the earth, then we're in trouble. But if we use that electric, beautiful energy of a storm, it can really turn things around. There you go.
Right on. Okay, good. Thank you. So, so let's go get Mr. Eric's only guy. Okay, guys, I'm hanging up the show right after Eric's reading. I'm kidding, but you know what I mean? It would serve you all right. Serve you all right. Let's go get Eric. Hi, Eric.
Hi, ladies.
Hiya, Eric. How are you?
Doing well.
Have you tried those condoms yet, dude?
Can't say I have.
You can't say you have. So I think that's a very, very sad statement, to be honest. You could have at least pulled them out of the bag to have a look, right, in the dark, wouldn't you? Couldn't you have just, turn the lights off, pulled them out? Oh, you have looked at the package, but have you taken them out of the package? Have a wee play with them?
See, with my last girlfriend, I didn't need condoms because anyways, it wasn't, not every relationship needs condoms.
No, this is true. But at the beginning of every relationship, you do need condoms, and if they glow in the dark,
She had an
even better.
operation so that she couldn't get pregnant, so it didn't matter. Well,
it does matter because if she's screwing around on you and goes and lays in bed with some guy with an STI, she's bringing it right back to you, buddy. Anyway, I'm just kidding.
That's right. Well, when you're sleeping with that woman, how many other men are you sleeping with?
Oh, look at you want. This is a Dr. Ruth discussion, and we didn't.
Yeah, I knew it was going to go there. But anyway, yeah.
It's his own fault. He brought it up. It's his own fault. Eric brought it up just recently. Is this not correct?
Oh, Eric brought it up.
I reminded you of your. Yes, I brought it up. Yes.
He brought it up. And so here it is,
but it
fresh in my mind.
A totally different context. Yeah.
It was
the gift
a totally
of
different
glowing in the dark condoms, a gift that keeps on giving. Thank you.
It keeps on giving.
Yeah.
So I bought those for Eric and sent them to him. And I think, was that a conversation
because
on
I bought
show
floss.
too?
Tell the whole story though, because I had so much floss.
You tell the whole story for everybody. Yep.
Because I had so much floss, Dorothy was so inspired to buy me condoms.
Yes.
So
Has a lifetime supply of floss, but you got a good deal on
glow in the dark. It was about glow in the dark.
We were making fun of Eric, and I should say I probably was the one, but Corrine is really the one that never has let go of the floss thing. I had totally forgotten about the floss thing, and like from time to time, Corrine brings it up, you know. But anyway,
I'm proud of it. I'm proud of all the floss I have.
I know. I know. You got like a whole freaking truckload of floss sent from Australia.
I've actually used over the years. I've used about 2/3 of it, so it does.
We could have a whole new ad campaign. You forget the condoms. Come on, baby, I floss. You might as well come to bed with me. I can see how that would work.
Do you string your guitar with it too, or like? Are you
no, the thing is, you're the one who took it in that direction. I just mentioned floss, and you're like, oh, you need glow in the dark condoms. So, okay.
Yeah, that's right. My mom works in very straightforward ways.
Dorothy has a very dirty mind. Dorothy has a very dirty mind. Very dirty mind.
I
think
if
anyway,
you're going to look after your teeth, you might as well look after your pee-pee as well.
The G-string on the guitar. That is so funny, Heath. Oh, my God. You are just like me. Just like me. Okay. I was thinking we should do a show on like all of the different uses. Oh, by the way, since I'm thinking of it, first person, I want to see how smart all these women are. And watch, it's going to be a dude that answers the question first. So you're baking a cake, okay? Get fast on your keyboards, ladies, okay? You're baking a cake, and you discover to your shock and horror that you do not have a toothpick to test the cake with. What do you use? No. The best thing that you can use is a piece of spaghetti, uncooked spaghetti. And then because the idea is to see if it comes out true, and it works. It's awesome. And so almost everybody has spaghetti. And so I had a terribly inappropriate answer. So spaghetti, I mean, yes, you break off a little toothpick-sized piece of spaghetti, uncooked, of course, and you poke it in, and if it comes out with cake still on it, it's not done, and if it comes out clean, then it's done. So away we go. Let's get Eric's reading, for crying out loud.
Right. First card we've got for you, Eric, since we've mocked and teased you now, it's kind of like you have to earn a reading around here. So it's forgiveness, and now Sherry said I have to hold the cards still because she couldn't see them very well. There we go. Now, that's the dioptase. That's for you, Eric. This is the first card you've got is dioptase, which is a card for forgiveness. We'll talk about it in a minute. I'll just show you the cards, but I was just asked to hold them a bit still on the spontaneity is the second card with calcite. Pretty cards. And clarity, which is the clear quartz. Course, which is an Earth card, was the last card out of the ranks. So forgiveness is, as a first card out, is really interesting because we get all caught up, we get our tits in a tangle and our condoms in a knot, kaboom, bada-ba-boom. Over forgiveness, thank you. There's this whole idea of it is so built up in our minds that actually, and a lot of spiritual teachers play on this and pray on it, but really it's just a simple matter of determining where you went wrong and attempting not to do that again. Sometimes it's yourself you've got to let go of with that. You've got to determine that, okay, that's all I knew at the time, because very often we are judging ourselves in retrospect. That is, I did that a couple of years back, and now I'm probably not good enough to do it again or to make it success or whatever. But we learn as time goes by, and the beauty of the Dioptase is it's actually one of those touching heart-to-heart kind of a cards. It just allows you to just let it go gently. There's no big, meaningful 10-year therapy session required for it. It's simply, you don't even have to go and choose what you want to forgive yourself for or anybody else for. You simply go, I can make forgiveness a part of my life, and then start moving it from there, so that as you go, you find that, because forgiveness and release are pretty much similar, if not the same thing. Forgiveness just implies, and it's an emotional card, that you're holding something, that there's a resentment or an anger with regards to something when you're unforgiving. It's one of those little hard nut moments, or a defensive moment, and it becomes that when we can't acknowledge that making mistakes is actually okay. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be mother's little, performer. You don't have to be the winner on the stage at all, ever, as long as you're doing what you want, as long as it feels right, and as long as you're trying your best to do what you feel is the right thing. Spontaneity is the second card. Suggests, it's a good time for you to just go with it. Instead of trying to nut it out, work it out, be cautious, think, is it okay, just say yes. It's an interesting thing to practice, just saying yes rather than, oh, no, or maybe, or that doesn't work. So whenever we start with a maybe, we are starting with a negative, whether we like to think so or not. So start with a yes. For all of those people that are successful, they give a lot of stuff a go. It doesn't mean nothing fails for them. They just don't care. If it fails, I keep moving, I try something else. And they keep doing that until they hit the niche, they hit the sweet spot, as in not the G spot, the sweet spot. And then the last card we've got is clarity. And with clarity we have exclusive.
They don't have to be.
They don't have to be.
Exclusive.
No, they don't. No,
Good
they
point.
do not.
You heard it here first.
Point.
Act curious time.
It's exactly right. The wisdom of Eric. The clarity is clear quartz. Obviously, we all know that, but there's something else about clear. Sorry?
The Dow.
One, Eric.
Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was in full flight there. Clear quartz also sends out a vibration. Now, I don't know if people are aware of what quartz does to watches and computers to make what their contribution is, but actually their contribution is the word timing. They keep them in balance so that they keep good time. They don't make them work as such. They set out an emission or a vibration which stops everything moving out of balance or off center, and so it holds everything in this wonderful pattern. So you can use that as clarity as well. So when you're using and employing the clear quartz, you're looking for that vibration that allows you to keep your center, to maintain it's not a status quo, but to maintain a rhythm, to keep the pace, to keep things in good time, divine timing, all of that kind of energy. But the clarity part is knowing that you're doing the right thing. It's not necessarily hoping, it's not having faith. It's, I know this is right for me. I know that will be the right thing, as opposed to guesswork and doubts, that kind of thing. Now, the three together suggest to me that when you let go of something you may have done wrong in the past, and I think it's a self-oriented thing because of the style of reading I'm doing mainly, you can then be more spontaneous. You can say yes more often. You can be less concerned about making mistakes in general, whether that's relationships, career, or anything, money. It doesn't matter. Allow that what mistakes have happened were in the past, and that they don't need to influence your choices in the present. You have grown. We all grow. We all change. And then work at what you know about things. Work towards the things that you know will work for you, regardless if you can't see how it will work just yet. Once you set that energy, once you set that focus, you're very likely to find that things just kind of work out, even though it's, what was it I heard? Now, was that the Eagles? I can't remember which one, the guitarist, the bassist maybe, and he was there and he said the most wonderful thing. I thought it was absolutely marvellous. He said everybody looks at our success and they see what happened in our fame and they think of it as an orchestrated event, that we knew what we were doing and we ended up on top and making millions of dollars. And he said really it was all just a big happy coincidence, lots of accidents, things that went wrong. There was a lot of arguments and fighting in there, but at the end of the day what they did worked in the eyes of the people. So if we think of our lives that way, that actually we're just sort of bumbling along, we don't have to plan every minute, we don't have to put success as the outcome of everything we do, you'll be a lot happier and you can say yes a lot more often. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Thank you.
Ta-da!
There you go.
I hope you
So
enjoyed that.
Eric?
There you go.
Any questions? Okay. Well, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, go ahead. Good. Thank you, Eric. Thank you. And I will mute you. I will now mute you. So there you guys go. You're all a bunch of lazy listeners. And not one other single one of you could lift your finger. So apparently nobody else. So now we will talk about knitting. Okay,
actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I've got
knitting.
the spheroid pattern. I've got the spheroid pattern to die for. Yeah, so there you go. Does everybody know what spheroid is these days?
Knitted condom might keep you warm, but it will not provide, protection. Just to let you know. But
we have in New Zealand a product called a cock warmer, actually. It's usually made out of possum fur and it looks pretty nice. And it's on a kind of warm. And it's on a kind of elastic G-string, which looks quite attractive, and it's usually, it's like really soft to touch, but it doesn't glow in the dark, which is its major downfall right there. Yeah.
Oh, so it's just like, it's just like, okay, so now, come on, you guys, there got to be at least one person to call in.
It does. There's only so many readings of people.
I'm going to sing until I get a caller. So I'm going to sing now.
I want to know about this dating site.
What dating site?
These girls are talking about deleting a dating site profile and so on and so on. And I'm like, who goes to dating? Yeah, what do we say about that?
Oh, I was going to say you'll have to go check the archives out, but that's right. We stop recording in overtime, so that part won't be recorded. So said person, signed up just for the shits and giggles, just to see, and like within 20 minutes or something ridiculous, had 5,423 flirts and likes and her hitting her up, and but then she had to. I exaggerated by a few. And so we don't want Chris to sing. Somebody please call in. Thank you, Sherry. That's why I threaten. There used to be a guy that would, and we're not mentioning names, but there used to be a dude that had a show, and at the beginning of his show, he would play like some either previous show, like a repeat of a previous show, or some music until he had his first caller. Oh. And so then you'd have people in the chat room going, come on, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. Somebody, you do it, And
anybody.
Yeah.
Oh, we can always find something to talk about. Yeah. With the dating site, that cracks me up, because I have a friend, Rita, whose name I'm very happy to ponk out there because of this, and she wanted me to check in on a profile of a guy she was going to have a date with, right? And I said, I can't see his stuff or anything because, blah, 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 and I'm not going on there. You can send me a photo or whatever if you can. And she's like, I can't do it. Please, can you just sign up? Da-da-da-da-da. It was a Canadian one. And that's where all of my stalkers over the years have come from. They've never come from anywhere but Canada. And that's the psychic stalkers. And then so I did it like, you know, when you really don't want to do something, my whole body language was away from the computer, and I was like, oh, do I have to do this? I signed up, and I had it wasn't that many, but I think I had, within 48 hours, I had 50 winks, flirts, and carry-ons from all sorts, which, you know, aren't most of them real people, or else they're really desperate people. They don't give us stuff, you know. And then you've got to put all this information in, and I'm horrified at it because I'm like, no thanks. Well, it took me nearly 3 months to get my name off that site. It was
oh my gosh.
It was, every time I'd go to delete my account, it would say, you can't do that here, you have to go here. And when I'd go there, it says you have to create an account here. And it was doing that, and it was giving me the runaround. And in the end, I rang them up, and I said, if you don't take my name off there, you're in big trouble, mister. Now, within about the first week, probably 6 days, I started getting bogus Skype connections, people trying to Skype, even though that information wasn't there. It's just a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. You know, I'm sure there are legitimate dating sites out there, and I'm not a fan anyway, as you know, but this was actually what I think was a scam. You know, I think it was just a plain straight out scam to get your info, put your details out. You know, they sell lists of people's emails, people. That's what they do. When you say, what's the point? They get your email address. Then they've got your name, whatever username, if it's a real scam site, whatever username you use there, most people are pretty narrow. They use it everywhere so they can get into all of your social networks with your password that you put on there, which is not private. They have access to it. Your name, your username, your email address, they've got your birth date, they've got all the information they need to basically run a con somewhere or use your details for selling it to other companies, you know, so that they can send you spam. So there you go, that's why they do it.
I have two callers now, okay? So that was good. The threats of singing and everything else was good. So we're going to go first to Terry. And hi, Terry.
Hello.
Thanks for calling.
Hi, Terry.
How's it going?
You're welcome. It's going good.
Going? Oh, good. Okay, I'll leave you in Dorothy's capable hands.
Okay.
I got you, baby. So the first card off the rank is alternate realities, alternate states. It's come up reversed. So I'll show it to you that way slowly for Sherry, and then I'll turn it around so you can see it up the right way. Alternate realities. I'm going to get a second camera because when I do readings online, I want one that... Yeah, I want a camera that shines down. Yep. You also got Journey as your second card off the rank. Between those two, that's a bit interesting. Okay. There's Journey. Yeah. And you've got Aquamarine Release.
Ooh, love it.
There you go. That's actually one of the cards for this month's energy for September of Aquamarine. Not this month, but, in a couple of days. So because the first card came out reversed, Alternate Realities is a fantastic card. I love it. It's about the dreams. It's about the weird stuff. It's about having conversations with people that don't exist or never did or might exist sometime in the future, or they're a billion light years away, or they're dead. Take your pick. It's one of those really interesting things where we get this funky little exchange between our reality and something that's not quite reality, but we're actually not insane. So we kind of know it's not right. And then we start thinking we're insane. You know the one? We start thinking, I think I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. And so it's that card, which suggests you're going to be having a lot of that kind of experience going forward. Even if you had them in the past, it may be amping up right now, ramping up. Because we've got journey in there, I would say it's going to take you on a journey that you're going to find yourself following along with these wonderful experiences and allowing yourself to take the learnings, or, not everything's about a major learning. One of the things I've learned over the last 18 years that I've been, well, it's a bit more than that I've been doing this, but only professionally, but when I started learning and going to classes myself, it was fun, right? You have this marvelous, amazing entity speaking to you. You've got people's faces pushing into your face. You're hearing voices. I mean, it's a phenomenon, and it's fantastic as long as you don't lose the plot somewhere in there and get lost. With that, though.
Or it could be like astral traveling.
Well, they're all the same thing to me. So They're alternate realities. The thing with astral traveling or astral projection is why I call it that, because you're not really going anywhere. It's your psyche, it's your consciousness that's stepping out into the world. But with that, some of those experiences are pretty funky. You know, you don't know quite what happened there. It's not like you tripped over to the neighbour's fence, you know, and you can see everything that you know is real and proper. There is a kind of a line that can get transgressed. But yes, all of that stuff comes into that alternate reality.
Very vivid dreams, which is, you know, kind of when you're in a dream state, that's an alternate reality.
Yes, it is, all of those. And a lot of people don't remember their dreams, or they don't have incredibly vivid dreams very often. I'm a real proponent for exploring vivid dreams. I think that they come under two categories. Most of the time, a super vivid dream that's really well out and funky is probably a prophecy dream for most people, although you can determine that yourself. And then other times we have these dreams that are, like I call a technicolor movie, and we evolve just about every part of our being through this dream space, which is quite an interesting experience. Does it help with stuff? Not often, but it's fun. You know, it's all about the fun.
Exciting,
Yeah, it's exciting. And even retelling these experiences, you know, even when you write them down or when you tell somebody about it, there's an excitement in you when you do that, which I think, you know, it's hard to win that without going up and paying a lot of money to jump out of an airplane, I feel. You know, so release is the aquamarine card. Now, aquamarine has a couple of other things too. It's one of those gentle crystals that when it moves through your system, it allows you to let go of old dramas, old issues, and while it's got release here, it releases in that way. It's sort of like, yeah, we don't care anymore about that. And so because you don't care anymore about that, it's sort of gone. Because it's an emotional card, when I put the three together, I would say that you're on or going to be on this particular journey. It's going to take you from pillar to post, where you'll be up 1 minute, down the next, you'll be clear 1 minute, not sure the next, that kind of emotional movement. But at each point you find yourself is a milestone, and at each point, whatever it is that's going on for you, if it's not 100% positive, say you visit some old pain or whatever, that's your opportunity in that moment to release it and determine. It's not a concentration of energy on it. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a withdrawing of energy away from it. So instead of bouncing from spot to spot emotionally, you're actually driving yourself away from a spot. It's almost like if you can imagine being in space and just doing a gentle push off, and suddenly within moments, without any effort, you are quite a distance away from that platform. So that's what we get out of the aquamarine, which is it's a wonderful thing. But it's also that safe space. So when you're in those alternate realities, when you are communing with those beings, when you are having those dreams, when you're meditating, all of those things, when you're hearing that voice in your little ear there, it gives you an opportunity to maybe determine which way you want your journey to go, so you enjoy every single moment of it. There you go.
That's interesting, because I have a aquamarine necklace. This morning I was deciding which one I wanted to wear, because I love crystals and I have a lot of them, but I ended up putting on labradorite, but I do have an aquamarine, and I might try wearing it tomorrow.
Have a go at
that.
Tie it under your pillow or hang it over your head, do something with it. Clearly it's a good thing to look at right now. Yeah, fun.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for calling, Terry.
You're welcome.
All right, have a good rest of the night, and we'll see you back in the chat room. I have an anonymous caller. Don't know if that'll be Queen or who that's going to be. You just heard a beep in your ear, anonymous person. Hello, who's that?
Hello.
Hi, who's that?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, am I on?
Yep, that's you. Hi, what's your name?
Oh, hi, how you doing? My name is Ruth.
Hi, Ruth. How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm very much enjoying the program.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. How did you find out about this show?
My niece is into this kind of hoo-hoo stuff, and she recommended I apologize. I don't mean any harm, but I we call it hoo-hoo stuff over here.
Okay.
Better than hoo-ha.
We have no
issues.
There's
a different meaning.
Yeah.
Better meaning for hoo-ha. I mean, a different
Okay.
meaning for hoo-ha. The Freudian slip. Sorry about that.
Well,
Anyway,
sometimes your
sorry.
hoo-hoo could have a hoo-ha. You never know.
All right, that's so funny. So, so you want to get a couple of cards, crystal cards off of Dorothy here?
I would love that. This is just such a treat for me. I like how you incorporate humor. I think it's very important.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, you've hit the ground running then if you want a bit of humour with your reading. So I've already drawn the cards as soon as you said your name, Ruth. And so the first card I drew for you was Insight. I don't know if you're in the chat or not, but I'm showing that card out there.
Yes,
if you
ma'am.
aren't in the chat. Sorry?
I'm sorry. I'll wait until you're done.
It's all good. So the first card is Insight, and it's As You Write is the card. The second card came out reversed. It's Tiger's Eye, and it's Balance. So I'll show it upside down. It's a fire card. First tonight, I think, that we've had. Balance. I know the light's shining on it. Sorry, guys. And the last card came out was Seraphonite, which is Healing. This is a beautiful card. In fact, it's lovely. So the first card coming out as Insight does suggest that you would have visions, third eye knowings, gut feelings, all of those kind of things that lead to insight. But insight has two responders. It's looking out, but it's comprehending from within. So we can't have an insight into a situation we either haven't experienced or don't understand. When we don't understand something, we can only ever look at the outside of it and not really know what's going on. So it suggests to me that you're going to have or are having understandings or clear insight into situations around you because you've had the experience of those situations in the past and you can kind of see where things are going. That's probably the best way I can put that. And when you can see where things are going, that can be frustrating if people aren't listening to you when you say, well, I can see where this is going. The second card in reverse with Balance suggests that you really might need to tighten up the way things are happening around you or for you or from you. Now, balance is an important part of all life. So think about the things that are a bit skew. Am I eating the right foods? Am I drinking the right amount of water? Am I getting the right amount of exercise? Are my relationships in balance? Do I have boundaries in the right places? Those kind of things. Do I devote too much time to work and not enough time to play or vice versa? Think about those areas that aren't necessarily in balance for you at the moment, because this will be the area that we're looking at today, that you may, for example, know that you're burning the candle at both ends or doing too much, and see your insight is, I know exactly how that's going to go, and that begs the question of why continue doing that. Now, with the healing card, it suggests that it's in your power right now to make a significant change in these areas of imbalance or in the areas that you're not quite happy with, or to your health, whichever way that goes. The Seraphonite is one of those most gentle, beautiful, silky crystals. It really is. It's milky to look at. It's soft. It's smooth. I mean, it's really one of those crystals you just enjoy looking at. You enjoy touching. And so for the healing to happen, you need to do all of the things you enjoy all at once. Get the ice cream, listen to the music, lay on the beach, whatever it is, before winter, whatever it is that you enjoy doing, just do all of them. And that doesn't mean the big things that that need time, holidays, and money. They're the little things. If you enjoy sitting outside in the sun for a while, then do it for 10 minutes at least. If you enjoy just driving in your car, then go for a wee Sunday drive. If you enjoy being around animals, pop off to the zoo if you've got one, or go to the local farm or horse paddocks, whatever. But indulge those things that you really like. That's how healing works. When we stay in that work mode in our mind, that we've got to fix this, we've got to change that, we've got to do this, we're on to that. That can actually create a little bit of distress in our lives. We become so oriented on it that we're not really regenerating. And then when we don't regenerate, we can actually get quite tired, and we can, in fact, get sick. The three together, that shows me in the order that they came out that you kind of know where things are heading in your life right now. You may not quite like where they're heading, or you may have been here before. So you may find that you're in a cycle or a repeat of situations that have happened to you in the past. And your way of healing is to make sure that you just do the things that you enjoy. If you're being controlled by circumstances, if you're working too hard, or a doesn't like you enjoying yourself, that kind of thing, then now's the time to change that, to do what you're going to do. If you want to go to the movies, go to the movies, and don't hold out for somebody else to validate the things that you love or the things that you want in your life. And you'll find that within a very short period of time, you'll feel happier, you'll feel better. Your insight will fail you a little bit when you start to change that, but it will kick back in when you create a new path, when you set a new direction. That's what I've got for you, Ruth.
Oh, my goodness. What's your name? I'm sorry.
Dorothy. That's okay, Dorothy.
You hit the nail on the head with so much. First of all, I've been reading for longer than I'd like to admit, you know. I'm an old lady, but so I think you're right with the insights, and I do have some health problems, but, you know, this happens around my age. I've used suppository, and I shouldn't have said that on the. Oh my! I hope that's okay. I'm sorry.
No, it's funny.
I'm glad. Okay. Well, you know, it's just one of those things when you age. Sometimes you can't go. You know, but yeah. I've been having the insight.
We call it constipated, darling. Right. Yeah, that's all good. Well, those are the things that are imbalanced. Actually, I am an energy therapist, and I've had a few clients in the past who say, you know, why is it we always end up talking about poos and wees? And I said, because when things get backed up, this is the area that's causing you the problem. It'll be your liver, it'll be your kidneys, it'll be your colon.
I'm sorry, yeah. I'm just saying, there is nothing like a good bowel movement. I mean,
it's true. Such a relief.
It's funny, but it's, you know, it's the way of life, and when you can't go, you can't go.
Oh, nobody's happy till they've peed and pooed, right?
That's right. But really,
right.
I appreciate your insight. I could tell you have a lot of power, and I bet you're regular anyway, which is good.
I am actually very regular. I am so healthy it would make you fairly sick to think of that.
For anybody that's not regular.
Yeah, incredibly healthy.
Beer keeps you regular too. So wait, Ruth, did I hear you right? Did you say you are a reader, a psychic also?
Yeah, I've been doing this for about 55 years.
Oh my God, that's longer than I've been alive.
I didn't even know there was such a thing as a call line where you could talk and get. This is amazing.
Well, you should come on my show one time. Can you find me, or do you use Facebook?
Well, my niece showed me the link there on Facebook. Yeah.
We'll somehow figure out how you or your niece could get a hold of me, and we'll bring you on one time if you want to.
Well, boy, that sounds wonderful. That I think I would love to do that if you'd have me.
Of course I would love to have you. That would be a fun show, I think.
I might be a star after all these years.
Indeed. Hey, listen, we've launched many a career here at Curious Times, and anyway, that's kind of not true, but...
I'll try not to mention any bodily functions, you know, I apologize for that.
No, that's okay.
I can't imagine why you wouldn't... Sorry, I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to mention them, Ruth, because we do it all the time. It makes you part of the gang.
Oh, great.
I just wasn't expecting it. Like, when I know to expect it, then I can handle it. You know what I mean?
Well,
when it catches me off guard.
You know, I'm from Rego Park. That's in New York. It's a borough of Queens, and we just talk natural. We talk natural.
Natural. Well, and of course you're coming from a different generation, so maybe that's it too.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe that's
we didn't do the hoo-hoo stuff so much, but we sure talked about bowel movements. You know,
you You could do poop readings, maybe. People could, like, describe their poop and you
well, we would do that. I mean, I had daughters I brought up, and, you know, if the color wasn't good, we had an issue, you know?
That's right. Exactly right. Exactly right.
Dr. Oz.
We could have poop photos sent in for readings, yeah?
I don't mind.
And
no, I wouldn't mind. As long as I can't smell it, I'm good.
Then if somebody tells me I had a shitty guest on, I could agree. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Hey, if you want shitty, you got it. Ruth is pretty shitty, you know? Well, I wish I was a little more shitty, you know.
Well, I wish you all the regularity that you could handle, you know, or that your plumbing could handle. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe I just need to change my game plan, like Dorothy said. You know, just maybe walk around a little more.
Yeah, walking does it. You know, it never fails. I decide I'm going to go, I haven't pooped for a week. You know what I mean? Can't poop for a week. And then I want to go for a walk, and then I get halfway between here and nowhere, and, like, you're like, oh.
And then look at me, regular is clockwork, and I walk every day. See, must work.
No, walking is very good. Speed walking was invented by somebody who went for a walk and had to suddenly poop. And
the problem is when I walk, I look like the wreck of the Hexpress. You know, at my age, it's touch and go.
Well, that's awesome. I hope you'll get a hold of me, and maybe we can bring you on one of these times real soon and make you the star of the show.
I sure will. You know, I didn't expect any of this. This is fantastic. Thank you so much.
What kind of readings do you do? Do you use cards or something, or how do you talk to dead people? Or...
Oh, no cards. No offense to anybody. You know, I just use my inners. You know, I just get to talking to somebody, and there I go.
Oh, so you're like sort of like you just pick up psychically then information. Do you get their dead people, or just what's going on in their?
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm almost dead myself, so no, I'm kidding.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, I try. No, but I pick up the dead and I put them back where they're supposed to be when I'm done. But I pick up any kind of energy, or you know.
Awesome. Okay, well, get someone to get your people to get a hold of my people, okay, and we'll get you on.
All right, we're big shots. Okay, thank you very much, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ruth.
Bye,
you take it easy. All right. Oh my God, I didn't think I'd be talking about poop. You know, everybody's saying, Ruth, you got to get your own show already. You guys, like now I'm just a piece of shit over here. Excuse the pun. You know what I mean? And okay. Now let's see. Do we have? Oh, Diane Brighton. Diane is there. Let's go get Diane. Hi, Diane. How you doing?
Hi, Chris. Pretty good. Hi, Dorothy. Hi.
Hi, Diane. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Got my dog laughing there.
You've got to have a laughing dog. Goes with the poop.
That's what it was. Yep.
Dogs love poop. Let's face it. This is true, right?
No comment. My dog likes to keep it clean here. Even she's embarrassed about these things.
Even she's embarrassed. Yeah, they can't keep their noses out of the stuff, really.
No.
It's true. It's true.
Box the cat litter box.
Litter boxes.
And the cat litter box.
Oh gosh, that's no fun. Do they get sick when he eats the litter out of the litter box?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, yuck. It's got to have a bit of a moment. So would you like me? I've drawn some cards for you, Diane. Would you like me to read those?
Please, thanks.
Okie dokie then. So the first card off the rank was Spirit. Okay, which is Dan Bright, which is a little bit unusual. And Dan Bright can grow in these huge rock formations, which look pretty amazing. So Danburite's the first card off the rank. Now the next two came out upside down. So we've got Selenite, okay, which is up the right way. It is the higher self. So maybe not listening to yourself, although we'll go there in a minute. And we've got love. We've got the rose quartz card. It's an emotional card. We turn it upside down so you can see it up the right way. But it too came out upside down. So with the selenite being the higher self, the spirit card coming up first, there's definitely a call for you to take more notice of your inner guidance rather than necessarily external guidance. There's that, you know, when you get that tantalizing hint of information and you know it's just there, it's not far, but you can't quite grasp it. It's like trying to remember that tail end of a dream. You know, you can remember a certain bit, but there's that bit that you know was important, you can't quite get it. That's sort of the feeling I'm getting around this spirit card for you. And you may want to use Danburite. Now, if you don't have a particular crystal, you can bring your focus into it by saying the word Danburite. Find a picture of Danburite on Google. Good enough, really, because there's more crystalline what do we call it, growth, if you like, in the earth or models in the earth than there is on top of it. So you can connect to a whole lot more of that energy by bringing your focus down to what the crystal is rather than having it. But if you can find a piece, it's fantastic. I have never seen a very large piece of Danburite, so I would still use, even if I had one, I would connect to the earth with that. So that might be a very good thing for you. To have the higher self, the selenite card reversed, just does kind of mean as a rule that we're not listening to ourselves. That's not about externalizing at all. It's simply perhaps when you get information from yourself for your future or for a situation, you may dismiss it or be dismissive of it a little bit more than you need to be. Now, at these, the interesting thing she's put in these cards is at the base of the selenite crystals, she's actually got tourmaline, black tourmaline, one of my favorites. And black tourmaline is about detoxifying. So if you have a habit of second-guessing yourself or a habit of dismissing your own intuitions, that kind of thing, until somebody else confirms it or somebody else says it, it's probably a practice that you could let go of. So that's creating an environment that doesn't necessarily help you listen to your inner guidance. And it is inner guidance all the way here. Now, we've got the love reversed here as well. So you may feel a little bit lonely. You may feel a little bit unloved at the moment, or you may feel that nothing you do seems to get that reward of feeling loved or feeling as if people really care. When I see the rose quartz reversed, it tends to come back down to either being left to your own devices a bit too much or not necessarily having people actively show that they care for you in some way, shape or form, which could also be buying into the higher self thing. It's a value thing now with the three cards that we're looking at together. We're talking probably self-value and how you value your own inner guidance as opposed to somebody else's, or how you even listen to it, you know, whether you're defensive of your own intuition. You may hear something you don't like from your inner guidance and then decide not to take notice of it because you don't like it and then move down that path until it becomes obvious there's no other path to move along. So if you start listening earlier, you can create change, you can manifest things, you can do things quite differently to when you just wait for yourself to meet your own future. When I did that show on quantum time the other day, definitely interesting stuff to play around with, that's for sure. And you've done enough work on yourself and in your life, energetically, spiritually, I think, to start playing around with those concepts of the future being now and affecting the past. Kaboom.
Cool. Wow. Yeah.
Look at us laughing.
Like, I'm just waiting for I'm not sure if she's about to follow up the laughing with something or if that's it. We're done. All
right, Diane, how was that? Are you good?
Yeah, that was good. Thank you very much. That's cool.
Awesome.
You're very welcome. Anytime, of course. Anytime.
Awesome.
Actually, I will say this got nothing to do with the cards, but I feel a lot of heat around my eyes while I'm talking to you and in my fingers and in my hands. So if you're playing around with energy and working with energy, it does need to go somewhere. You know, if it just hangs around yourself, if you just sort of heighten it, or I see people playing around with actually astral projection, that kind of thing, where they heighten your vibrations, heighten their energy, but they don't actually direct it anywhere. So it becomes kind of a loose cannon, if you like, and we can very often get sort of caught up on the inside of that without really knowing what's going on. We sort of find ourselves in kind of like this little weird bubble space until we fall out of it and come back down to earth. So you may want to focus on what you want to do with that energy, because it's hot, man. She's hot, baby. She's hot to trot.
Well, I'm on the rooftop, and it's like 100 degrees, so that would
Lordy be.
That would contribute to it, and the air conditioning doesn't really work. So anyway, but yeah, it's true.
Very good, very good.
Okay. Hey, Diane. Thank you. Hey, does Eric? Can I come in? Eric. Can I unmute you quick, Eric? Yes, Chris, you can. Okay. So, hey, Eric, so you were the guy that came with the helichrysum, or helichrysum, however you pronounce that. The pronunciation cops are not here. I haven't seen, like, I can see that in some cases you put it topically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you there, Eric? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I noticed that it's used for busting up blood clots. And so, but I'm wondering, like, how...
Good for wound healing.
Right. So clearly on any of those, like, you know, if I have, you know, or else let's say I'm having a muscle spasms in my back or something, I could rub some on the area or whatever topically, right? But do you know, like, I haven't found any idea of how to use it. Like, it just says, like, that it helps clear accumulation of blood or blood clots, you know, and da-da-da-da. It helps, the oil helps to dissolve or melt away such clots by stimulating the enzymes that do that. So do you think that would also be a topical? But I'm not sure where you think that would...
I think so, actually. I think it probably would be topical. I don't think you would drink it or anything.
Shit, I was hoping that I could... Can I smoke it? Can I smear it on a rolling paper? You know? Can I smear it on a rolling paper and roll it up and spark it up? Okay. No, I'll have to look. I just wondered how.
I'm sure you could try it, but you might want to research that first.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. Can't be taken internally. No, I just was wondering. So I will look further into that. If anyone else have you used this oil before, Eric?
I used it, actually. I sliced my finger open a couple of weeks ago, and it's been healing pretty nicely. I think the oil's helped. It's on my left hand.
Okay,
so,
good. What did you have it on hand for in the first place? What was the purpose of having it on hand?
I bought a bunch of essential oils and miscellaneous for miscellaneous purposes. It's also good for dark circles under your eyes.
Oh, you rub it on there? Oh, shit, I gotta get me some of that.
But I think you might want to put it in rosehip oil. For your eyes, you'd want to dilute it. You'd want to dilute it in, like, rosehip oil or something like that.
Well, maybe dilute it. How about if I dilute it with coconut oil?
That would probably work too. But you could just Google helichrysum and circles under your eyes or something like that, and you'll find out more about that. I'm sure you can use a different oil, but most cases I've heard that rosehip is a good combination with helichrysum.
It's because rosehip is good. Is that or the one specifically for the eyes? Fractured coconut oil. So I have to throw my coconut oil around and punch it a couple times?
Fractioned. Must be fractioned coconut oil.
Fractioned. What is that now? Come on, you guys. Don't be talking to me as if I know any. Fractioned. What is it?
It's a special kind of coconut oil that's more shelf-stable than normal coconut oil.
Why did it always there has to be some stupid thing that gets in the way of me being able to...
You don't have to get that. I mean, you don't have to use that. You could use probably, other types of oil too. But fraction coconut oil is one of the best types of carrier oils.
But isn't all coconut oil clear once it's melted? When it's liquid?
When you buy the what they call the purified or the organic coconut oils, they're white. Usually you'll buy them in a jar and they're white. And when you melt it, it goes clear, and the oil viscosity is such that for cooking, it's raved about, because you can put half a teaspoon of coconut oil, and its viscosity is such that it will line the whole bottom of a pan, and you can cook anything you like in that till you're finished, and it can be heated up to just about a higher heat than any other oil. Like, it can take it. So it's an amazing oil. From an internal perspective, it's very good for you. Yeah, very good for you.
And that's what I use: extra virgin, organic coconut oil. And I use that for cooking, and I use that for cooking and my face. You know what I mean? And I do not
if you can eat it, you can put it on your face.
Exactly right. Exactly. So would it be okay? So that's good. I've never heard of this helichrysum. I'm gonna have to get on that and go find where I can get that. I gotta try that.
It is one of the more expensive oils, but you don't need to buy it in large. You can buy it in like a third ounce or something, and not instead of like a whole ounce. You don't need a lot of it really.
It's also good for wait for it, people, wait for it. Constipation. Yes, indeed.
There you go.
So, allergies, acne, colds, cough, skin inflammation, wound healing, constipation, indigestion, liver diseases, gallbladder disorders, inflammation of the muscles and joints, infections, candida, insomnia, stomach aches, and bloating. And that's just off that one. Then on the other page it says it's an antitussive, a nervine, which means it keeps your nervous system in order, which probably would help me. Febrifuge, fever. Oh, so it's good for fever. I've not heard cicatricin, cicatricin, the property. It makes your wounds heal quicker. Expectorant for the cough. Antimicrobial, antiseptic. Emollient. Oh, it'd be good for the skin also. Mucolytic. Mucus. Diuretic. Splenic. Excellent. Okay, good. Thank you. I'm glad that I learned something today. I can't handle the apple cider vinegar. I have some of the kind with the mother stuff. What do you call that? The mother's, Dorothy, do you know that? What do they call that?
Sorry?
The mother... Like apple cider vinegar with the mother. Do you know what I mean?
With the mother?
By that?
No.
Yeah. Okay, hang on.
No idea what you mean by that.
It's like a cloudy substance at the bottom that you can use to produce more of the same with. So you add more water.
Yeah. So we call it the parent culture. Yeah. The culture.
Oh, the parent mother. Right, okay, gotcha.
Well, I didn't take the leap, yeah. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about a brand for a second there. Yeah.
No, it's like a special
cloudy but fine. Cloudy but fine. Yeah.
Cloudy but fine. And so but it's really just so rough, that ACV stuff. And then when I read it raw, it can like
you get, when you get those flavoured waters that have got like that slight tang, that they taste a little bit like they might be lime in them or a touch of lemon or something. Usually it's cider vinegar. They've put a drop of cider vinegar in the... That's all everybody's getting. Yeah.
Oh, I dilute it too. I dilute it with water. I throw a little lemon in.
Just a drop. Yeah.
And it's still pretty wicked and nasty. And then when I read, you have to really rinse very, very well, or it can start to erode your teeth and everything too, because it's that acidic, So you really have to rinse your mouth very well after drinking ACV. Okay, Eric. Thank you for that. Glad that you told me about that oil. Sounds like it can fix everything that's wrong with me. Dorothy says I don't think so.
I'm looking at the list of what it can cure, and my first thought was, just cutting out yeast takes care of all of those.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can fix what's wrong with you, whatever that is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly. I'm looking for the easy way out, people. You know what I mean? So, is yeast a natural thing? Like,
yeast is naturally occurring, but we tend to have a lot of foods with yeast in them, and a lot of misdiagnosis in the recent years has been applied to yeast infection or too much yeast. I think I've told you about it before. You do the saliva test. That's easy, cheap, quick. Do it before you have tea, coffee, or anything in the morning. If it strings out, then you've got a yeast problem. And a yeast problem this is the problem with it, it can take a year to clear up, but it's an elimination, not an addition. So you can't put things on a yeast problem and have it go away. We'll never do it. It won't go away unless you take something away from it. So don't cringe, but things like beer are made with yeast, things like wine are made with yeast, bread is made with yeast. What the yeast does when it builds up in your body actually is it eats sugars. And so that's how it multiplies itself within your body. So even if you stop applying too much yeast to your system. See, back in the day when they made bread, they made sourdough slow-rise bread, which used almost a quarter of the amount of yeast per loaf to what we have today. So the average loaf of bread today, to get it to rise in 10 minutes, basically cooked and ready to go, they're using huge amounts of yeast, which is a big problem. And then we have it in so many other areas of our lives that after a number of years of doing this, because when we grew up with sandwiches. We grew up with the half-hour rise bread. We weren't our parents who grew up with their mums making the bread, who made the slower loaves and all the rest. So at the end of it all, you come down to yeast is a major issue that is pretty much undiagnosed most of the time. You can't get rid of it in 6 weeks. It can take up to a year. But you'll notice the difference of not having it very quickly. And this is where the fad diets come under fire from me, is they'll say, okay, knock bread out of your diet. Well, immediately it's not the bread, it's not the yeast. A lot of people that think they need to be gluten-free, really it's the yeast they've now taken out of their diet because you don't use yeast in non-wheat bread rises, you see.
But if you have a yeast problem and you take all the yeast out, but you have any kind of sugar, it's just going to continue.
No, but that's it. You start taking the yeast out of your diet, and it takes about a year for flushing. Yeah. Right. It takes a year to flush it. And yes, there are other things that you need to do, more fresh fruit and vegetables. I mean, they're obvious things, the things we all know, we've all heard about. The more water you drink, the more you flush it, the faster it will release. But I haven't heard of anybody really coming out the other side prior to 9 months from the beginning. So stopping the yeast intake is an absolute necessity, but just a beginning. Then, as you say, the sugars, they feed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But some people will maintain that 99% of the population has candida, right?
Well, candida is an extreme form, though. Candida, if you're starting to get rashes, you're in trouble. So once you get candida, what you're saying now is yeast is out of control in your body, and what you need is an extreme solution, and it's not pretty. I have seen 3 pages of what you can't eat with a candida client, and it's almost impossible at that point for a person to go into that kind of regime. The recommendation that would work for anybody would be become a vegetarian now today and forget any additives, for 6 to 12 months. It's not a lifelong solution requirement, but you are talking for that long. What doctors kind of know, and so they medicate, is they say simply, yes, these are the solutions. They admit it. There's no hiding of that. But what they say is people won't do it. And I'm thinking, well, if you'd feel a whole lot healthier, and if it took you 30 years to get this way, if you stop for 1 year, it'll take you another 30 years to get back this way. So by then, who cares, right? Yeah. It's straightforward. I've had a client
spitting
a few
and
weeks
shitting,
ago.
heavily featured on
Spitting and
shitting
requirements.
Spitting and shitting. Excellent.
Yeah, it's absolute must. Yeah. If you have burning urine, just so as we clear all the areas of the field, then you have a problem and you don't drink enough fluids. If your heart palpitates, you may need to drink more water. As simple
or
as
you're
that.
having hot flashes. Or
hot flashes. Well, a hot flash is a sudden rise in blood temperature, blood pressure anyway. But with women over the past, in the past they never treated it because they knew it was kind of a normal function for menopausal women. Now they chuck them on, they've added to their colony of blood thinners by giving them to women who don't need them because it's simply a natural function. When a man has accelerated blood pressure that's very high, he's in physical danger. When a woman does, she actually isn't. So it's that understanding and going, we don't have to treat everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to run and jump in the cold water and relax for a bit and allow it to be. Thank you, Sherry.
Right, Sherry. No, you're right. And so I'm doing everything, it's funny because, like, I've never, ever had, like, what do you call, like, these yeast infections and all these kind of things. Yeah. But probably if I did, I think I did the spit. It was just really disgusting to me to wake up and do a spit test. And I couldn't handle
it. But at the same time, when you're talking about yeast infections, when you're talking about genital warts, here we go. When you're talking about candida, well, it's still yeast, you see. So you're still talking the extreme. Yeast issues are in the body, and they can cause fatigue. Are you ready? Constipation. They cause bloated tummy. That's what I'm saying. All of those symptoms you read are caused by yeast problems. That's too much yeast in the body, which is considered actually maybe nearly 50% of all Western population has. So when you start looking at it that way, it becomes a different thing. A person might say, I get a bloated tummy when I eat bread, so I won't eat bread and I feel better. It's usually the yeast. It's not usually the wheat. That kind of thing is what I'm talking about. So it's a misdirection at the same time. And it will make them feel better because that's what they've taken out of their diet. So even wine's made with yeast culture, right? You throw a yeast culture in wine to get it to ferment these days. Back in the day, it had a natural yeast fermentation, which, as you were correctly said, it's in the air, I've made bread with a yeast fermentation just with, you put damp flour, by the way, anybody wants to try this, go for it. You put damp flour on the windowsill, and if it's nice and warm or somewhere warm, it will start after about 4 or 5 days, it will start to hubble bubble. So it's got to have water in it, it's got to have moisture, it doesn't need sugar. And it will do that just with the flour, but it takes that long. And about 3 or 4 days after that, when it's really moving along nicely, it's ready to use. And you use a tiny amount of that, and you pop that into your bread and let your bread rise over 24 to 48 hours. And then you're really using very, very minuscule amounts of yeast that get used up, actually used up completely in the process,
I've been like making like flatbreads without yeast and that and stuff like this, and so I'm happy with that. I get my bread fixed.
I'm a bread fanatic. I've been making bread just lately. Like, I don't eat bread all the time, but when I do, it's because I've made it. It's that simple. And I've been playing around with this new recipe, which I'm really happy with, and it's a cross between a brioche and a standard bread, but in my hunt for a base recipe, then I go and start changing it. I found something that I have fallen in love with and I'm yet to make, and they're called arepas. Have you heard of arepas?
No, I haven't. Unless I haven't, I just haven't heard. Can you spell it?
Well, I'd never heard of the process before, so I know it's not just a different name. They are they're a flat bread. And then when they're made, they're essentially stuffed with cheese and rolled flat with cheese inside them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
okay.
God.
Gotcha.
And then they're cooked in a pan. You flip them in a pan. So they're about thick like a scone almost, but they're actually a risen bread. And I've just thought, that's just got to be good. They're not made with flour. They're made with a thing called pan, which is a cornmeal, P-A-N. Have you heard of that? I have to order it online because it's not in our shops. So that's the other thing. It's not made with flour at all. And so you've got these different things. You'd be moving sideways of a tortilla. So they don't use tortilla flour. It's actually its own cornmeal, a bit more coarse.
I got pissed off because I'm going to go show you what I got. I got pissed off. I saw corn flour. It says corn flour, right?
Yes.
And I'm sure it's not corn flour. It's like that masa or whatever they call it. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Yep. Hello, just me now, folks. So we're going to take over Chris's show. What shall we talk about? Poos, wees, boobs, or butts? It's got to be one of those things. We've got to keep the show rolling, got to keep it moving. Oops, she's back. Behave. Let's not. Eric wants to talk about boobs because he's got glow-in-the-dark condoms.
Okay, so, see corn
Hang
flour,
on, I'll
but
make
it doesn't say empty.
I have to make it.
Yeah.
Oh, what is it? That yellow?
Yeah, and it's yellow. Okay, I'm gonna show you. Like, hopefully, see if I can. I'll just have to. I don't want to do that, but I'm gonna do it. I don't know if
I'll just make you. I need to make your video big. There we go. Oh, it looks like Maza. Yeah, it does. But it is a corn flour.
It is.
It's made from corn. Yeah.
So, yeah. See, and I thought it had to say, and so I do have the right thing.
Yeah, yeah. I make tortillas with it.
Right. Do you have a tortilla press thing?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that helps, doesn't it?
Actually, I'm not as happy with it as I could be. I think if I did it, I bought a smaller one, you know, as you do, and I can make a tortilla about this big, but then I still have to roll it afterwards. So it's still a two-step process. So I used to just roll it, and I figure it's probably not that much advantage. But if I was to do it again, I'd get a bloody big bastard. They've got the wooden ones that you can make yourself. You can go and get a pattern and get somebody to make it. I think they're better because when you look at the press, there's just this big, wide, flat area. Mine's cast and it's heavy, but the way the handle comes down on the wooden press seems to me to be more efficient. For whatever reason, I look and I think this should spread further than it does, and it doesn't. So there you go. So I like that.
I either had a bad recipe or I didn't maybe measure it exactly or something. Like I tried to make tortilla.
Tortillas?
What's that? And it was bad.
You're trying to make tortillas?
Yeah, and it did not work. So I took the rest of my batter or whatever, you know, my dough or whatever, and I just added. I made a full batch of naan bread recipe, and I mixed it all together, and it made beautiful naan bread. So, so that's
I will send you my tortilla recipe that works every time. How's that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Is it in your book?
Yeah. I don't think I put it in my book. I put enchiladas in there, but I don't think I put enchiladas in the book, but I don't think I put the recipe for the tortillas. And even then, I make wheat tortillas sometimes and masa. So I will send you my recipe. It either is the same or it's different. You'll find out, won't you?
Yeah.
So if it looks the same, then it's working out what the difference is because it looks like masa.
Yeah, it does. Like everything I've looked at, but usually it says it has to say masa on it, but mine doesn't.
Well, usually it does on the back there somewhere. It should say masa harina, which mine does on the back, not on the front.
Oh, hang on. It's like product of India.
It shouldn't come from India. It comes from Mexico.
No,
that's why.
It's called tejafood.com. And that's what I mean, though. Like, no, it says nothing anywhere. You know what I mean? I can tell you if it comes from India, it's not masa, so it's a different product. If you made broth with it and it was fine, it's possibly got besan flour, which is a pea flour, or it could be their corn flour. But you know how you buy corn flour for thickening soups? Thickening sauces. Yeah. You can buy two sorts. One's wheat and corn flour, and another one's corn flour, which is like a very fine talcum powder. You can't make tortillas and stuff or anything out of those. They sort of fall apart too easily. And the Indians have a flour, which is a pea flour called besan flour, and it's made. It's the same. You can use it to make like a tempura batter. You can use it mixed with flour, and it will create something, but on its own, it just doesn't pull together. The only masa I've ever found and bought, and I could be wrong, is actually from Mexico. So maybe check our Mexican food supply. Yeah. Well, I just saw corn flour, and that was, you know what I mean? That was supposedly what I was looking for. And so I scooped it, and anyway, I'll use it. I've been using it anyways, and
it's just their treatment, the Mexican treatment of the corn, the corn meal. Well, no, they oxidize it to make it instant. They do something to it so that it's because it's proper corn. It is maize. That's why it's got to say maza. So it's from maize. And they do something to it so that you don't have to rub it and push it and rub it and push it and rub it and push it like the poor Mexican women.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
but
listen,
it's
you
pretty
guys
good
all.
stuff. I like it.
I'm just saying it's overtime, so anybody that wants to hang for overtime, or do you have to get going? Do you got somewhere to be?
I'm going to need to get going. Yep, I've got a client in a little while. Yeah, so I want to have a break between now and then. But
perfect. Thank you. And so take it easy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Ciao. Thank you, everybody. Bye for now.
energy-therapies.co. Thanks, Dorothy. Okay, kids. So if you guys are calling in, call in. Eric, you're still unmuted. Diane, you're there, and you can unmute yourself. Deb is there. I'm going to toss a quick song and figure out who's going to come and who's not, and then we'll go from there. Let me just see here. How about, I don't want to. I was going to do Crocodile Rock, but I don't really feel like that. I don't really feel like that right now. Here, I kind of like this song.
This following program is dedicated to the city and people of San Francisco, who may not know it, but they are beautiful. So is their city. This is a very personal song, so if the viewer cannot understand it, particularly those of you who are European residents, save up all your bread and fly Trans-Love Airways to San Francisco, USA. Then maybe you'll understand the song. It will be worth it, if not for the sake of the song, but for the sake of your own peace of mind. Slow lights beam, create streams. Walls move, minds do too. On a warm San Francisco night. Old child, young child, feel alright. On a warm San Francisco night. Angels sing, leather wings. Jeans are blue, Harley Davidson's too. On a warm San Francisco night. Old angel, young angel, feel alright. On a warm San Francisco night. I wasn't born there, perhaps I'll die there. There's no place left to go. San Francisco. Cop's face is filled with hate. Heavens above, he's on the street called love. When will they ever learn? Old cop, young cop, feel uptight on a warm San Francisco night. The children are cool, they don't raise fools. It's an American dream, includes Indians too.
All right. So there we go. Stop. Okay. Let's see who we got now. We got Diane there. Hi, Diane. And Deb is there. Hi, Deb. And
Hi.
Eric is. So how's Deb doing?
Oh, I'm okay.
Oh,
I was going to go to the drum circle tonight, but I just had a bath and was going to get ready, and I had to go to bed.
Oh, geez, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. Hot one minute, cold the next. It's been like this for a while. I don't feel sick, but I don't know. I'm just not feeling optimal.
Right. Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. I'm hot one minute and cold the next, but I know why.
Yeah.
Take a suppository. We'll get Ruth to diagnose you.
Oh, she was a character, eh?
Oh, hell yeah. That'll be a fun show if she ever does come on.
Wow.
That'll be a fun show.
I wonder how old she was. Like, I'm figuring she's
been
80s.
She's been reading. Well, she's got to be getting there, right? Because she said she's been reading for 55 years.
Yeah.
So she's, at least as old as Barbara DeLong. Got 5 years on Barbara.
Yeah.
And in reading anyway, you know what I mean? And hi, Kathleen, how are you?
Well, I think by the time that bowel movements become a main feature in our life, it's usually about the 80s.
Yeah, you're old when. I hope she doesn't come back, and I should stop the recording right now. And I'm like, but it's that, like, how do you call it? Like that unfiltered, no filter, hey?
No filter.
That age where there's like no filter. And it's kind of like, has anybody seen this new show that is on with Ozzy Osbourne and his son Jack, and they're traveling around to historical and other interesting places and landmarks? And that's a lot like Ozzy, like absolutely unfiltered, with some of the stuff he does. And so you've seen it, Heath? Yeah, doesn't surprise me, Heath. And yeah. And so, okay, now let me just see here. What was I going to do? Oh, yes, I'm going to close off for the archive listeners. Thank you very much for listening, archive listeners. For you to find out what we talk about and who we talk about in our overtime, you have to be here live. And so, sucks to be you, but you won't be able to hear what we're talking about. And that's good for all of humanity, in fact. So, we'll be back here tomorrow night with Aaliyah Dawn, and until then, we'll hope you take good care. Peace out and